There's a link at the right at the top of the comments section, which shows that illegal aliens coming to Canada, people who've come to Canada illegally, are given access to an Olympic stadium in Montreal, a shelter, a huge, fancy Olympic stadium in Canada. So basically, Montreal is encouraging people around the world to break Canadian law. How unpatriotic, how disloyal, how treacherous. If I were the Prime Minister of Canada, I would take every penny away from Quebec. They would get nothing. Montreal, I would bankrupt Montreal for what they've done. I'm sorry if I have fans in Montreal, but your city is the most treacherous. Not the people, but your government is treacherous by encouraging people to break Canadian law and come here illegally and give them access to an Olympic stadium, a shelter, with the cooperation of the federal government, which is also treacherous. However, 70 people in Toronto in 2017 died while sleeping rough in Toronto with no home, and homeless people all across Canada are dying at an alarming rate because this has been one of the coldest winters on record, and the people with no homes are literally dying, and the homeless shelters are overflowing, but the government say, there's nothing more we can do. But when it comes to Syrian refugees, they get access to free hotels. When it comes to illegal aliens, they get an Olympic stadium for shelter. But our own people are told, hey, if there aren't any more shelters, you're out. But the governments bend over backwards, flip sideways and forwards for illegal aliens and refugees. It's even more disturbing with illegal aliens because they broke the law. They came to the country illegally. They've broken our law. They've invaded our country like a foreign power. They've invaded, and our country just says, yes, you invaded us. Yeah, you shafted us real good. Let's show our appreciation by giving you access to free shelter. An Olympic stadium, beautiful, luxurious Olympic stadium to stay in, nice and warm, keep you happy. But our own people, they're nothing. They're useless. Leave them out there to freeze to death. 70 people in Toronto, that's not much. And you talk to many liberals, especially foreign liberals, people who come from foreign countries like Asia and those places, and then they think they've made it. They're some big shot. And the way they talk, and even white liberals, these middle class, upper middle class, rich white liberals, the way they talk, I mean, they say to me, I've heard them say, they're just a bunch of entitled people. It's their choice. It's yada, yada. Those homeless people, leave them there. But the brown guy from Syria who comes here illegally, or from America who comes illegally, or he's a refugee, we give him free hotel. We have to look after our people first, but Canada never does that. And as I've said, Canada is the most masochistic country on earth. It really is. I mean, can you imagine? No other country would allow illegal aliens to come to the country and then allow the government to give them access to free, to an Olympic stadium, an Olympic sports stadium, for shelter. I mean, you try doing that in America. First of all, Americans love their sports. They love their maybe not football after these nappy-headed football players. I'm sorry, but I know it's an insult to say, but I don't like them are kneeling for the flag. So football is out, but basketball, hockey, baseball. I mean, if Americans heard that the government was allowing one of their stadiums to be used as shelter for illegal aliens, Americans would rise up and just hang the president or the governor or the senator responsible. They would hang him. They would actually hang him, or they would shoot him. I mean, Americans are crazy when it comes to their, that type of stuff. They would shoot whoever did it. But Canada, oh, we don't care. Oh yeah, Trudeau. So Trudeau is giving all of our tax dollars, billions of our tax dollars to other countries and cutting on us and telling our soldiers, our elite soldiers, that if you're injured on the job and you don't return to work within 180 days, you won't get your pay. Meanwhile, Middle Eastern and African nations are given billions of our tax dollars to help them with their food crisis, and our own homeless population is told that there's nothing that we can do. You have to fend for yourself. But all the refugees and all the illegals in the world are getting access to free hotels and the refugees are getting free hotels, and the illegals are getting an Olympic stadium for shelter. But it's fine. Keep shafting us more. Keep on shafting us. Give it up the butt. Give it up the butt. Yeah, that's how Canadians are. The most pathetic, wimpy, pussy, masochistic nation on earth. I know people get mad at me for saying that, but I'm speaking the truth. I'm not saying it because I hate Canada. I'm saying it because I love Canada and I want it to change. This is a beautiful country. I'm dual citizen, born in Canada with American citizenship. I don't have to live here, but I choose to live here because I love this country and I want the country to be better. I've lived here most of my life and I've never seen this country in a more pathetic state than it is now. It's terrible. And then not to mention Omar Khadr, this nasty, nappy-headed Omar Khadr who kills two soldiers, gets $10 million from the Canadian government. You know what that $10 million could have done to the homeless in Toronto alone? Not giving them shelter, but maybe something to eat, something. I mean, billions of dollars to go into. I have the list. 2 years ago, it was like $5 billion that other countries got out of our tax dollars. You know what that could have done for our own homeless people? Could have fed them, clothed them, wiped their nose 10 times over. 10 times over. But no, we're not worried about them. Nah, I ain't worried about them redneck, nasty, stinking homeless Canadians. They can fend for themselves. Let's worry about giving refugees free hotels and illegal aliens who broke the law access to an Olympic stadium. Let's focus on that, according to Justin DeLonghair and Matt Daddy Trudeau. So welcome to Justin Trudeau's Canada, where Canada's homeless population is told to fend for themselves, and Canada's homeless population freezes to death on the streets of Toronto and Montreal and all over the place. But if refugees get access to free hotels, free laptops, free dental care, and free college tuition, and illegal aliens get access to an Olympic stadium, and they get so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, they have the nerve to actually complain that that's not enough. There are many articles I can show you where Syrian children are complaining about the food they're given in the hotels. It's not up to our standards. And then you got some illegal Haitians saying, we want better housing. We want better housing. I mean, your fool self is lucky that we don't put a bullet through your brain for breaking our law in the first place. So with that, I'm going to end in prayer. And yes, I'm going to end in prayer because I know it triggers a lot of people. You got some of these left-wing trolls and libertarians out there. Oh, you can't pray. How dare you pray? I'm an atheist. You're offending me. Then go get your fool self out of here. Heavenly Father, I want you to, I shouldn't say want. I want to thank you, Heavenly Father, for the blessings you've bestowed upon me and the Arana Nation. You've grown this channel for me to spread the truth to more and more people. I'm so ever grateful. I'm always in your debt. Father, please help your people in Toronto and in Montreal and in the Western Canada, all over the place, who are suffering and nobody pays attention to them. Our own government pays no attention to the homeless population in Canada. 70 people in Toronto have already died, Father, while being homeless in Toronto. 70 people are being turned away. It's a sad thing to see. Meanwhile, refugees are given access to free hotels and illegals are given an Olympic stadium. Father, I'm asking you to put a plague on the Trudeau household. put a plague on that household. I want to see roaches in their food and in their cornbread. I want to see fruit flies contaminating their fruits and their water to be contaminated with cholera and all sorts of diseases. And yes, I can say that because God said, you said, Father, I shall smite the wicked. And Trudeau is wicked. He is wicked. Only a wicked person would tell soldiers, if you don't come to work within 180 days, even though you were injured on the job protecting our country, you won't get paid. Only a wicked person would cut the tax benefits for diabetics, mentally ill, and our most vulnerable, and then the very next day give billions of those tax dollars to Middle Eastern and African countries to help them with their food crisis, giving billions of our tax dollars to all countries all over the place. Meanwhile, we're having our asses cut on. Sorry for cursing, dear Father. It's a really sad thing to see. And then $10 million going to a terrorist who blew up soldiers protecting the country. It's a sad thing to see, Father. Smite that Trudeau family. Smite them, dear Lord. Smite them. And I'm going to work every day until my last breath to see that this long-haired Mac Daddy is out of office. This is the Arana Nation.